Hey, thank you for joining me for another episode, another insight. I really enjoy having you here because on this channel I try to provide you with value through insights from a grounded perspective, just helping you, make that transformation in your life and moving your life, shifting your direction so that you can live your life God's way. I watched a Tim Tebow video, sorry, recently, and it really inspired me and touched me in terms of this particular video that I want to make today as well. He spoke about a verse that, I think as Christians, we kind of like attached our own stigma to this particular verse. He spoke about John 3, verse 16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. I mean, that verse on its own is just such a beautiful verse, such a beautiful demonstration of God's love. But we as Christians took that verse and we started making it the evangelism verse. So whenever we evangelize to people, that is our go-to verse. And because of that, and we use it as when we do the sinner's prayer as well, to bring that revelation and that understanding to someone that is giving their heart over to the Lord, that the Lord really loves them. So we kind of like use that verse only in that context. But that is so sad because, Tim Tebow was saying on this video how he used that particular verse to inspire, basically, he said about 94 million people. He didn't do it intentionally, but God, through him, touched 94 million people because they all went and Googled that verse after the game. And that really had me thinking about my own journey and my walk with God, Sometimes I'm praying and I'm thinking, Lord, are you hearing me? Are you hearing my prayers? Because it feels like I'm praying to the walls. It feels like nothing is happening in my life. I know that you love me. I know that you care for me, but I just really need you to move in these situations in my life. And I'm sure you've also experienced that particular emotion in terms of your journey and your struggles and your battles in this life. So my encouragement to you today is, I know that we face challenges and we face problems and we can feel destitute in the middle of these challenges. We can get caught looking at other people and seeing them have breakthroughs and asking, why don't I experience a breakthrough in my life? And, I've had those experiences as well where I've asked, Lord, why are you blessing other people? But I've been laying my heart down, I've been doing the work for you, but I'm not seeing the goodness of your hand working in my life. And we can get distracted by, the world and what is happening in the world, but God is working all things together for our good. I have seen God's hand moving in my hand this year in amazing ways. And at the times that I didn't recognize it, now looking back, I see that, God worked. There were times when I did recognize God's hand, but there were other times when I didn't see God's hand and I questioned as well. But looking back, foresight and hindsight. In hindsight, God really showed me that he did work all things together for my good. I'm taken by, my pastor shared about the lame man at the pool of Bethesda, And can you imagine being lame like your whole life long and wondering, is God going to be working for me? Is God going to be opening up a door for me? And just day after day, every time seeing other people getting the breakthrough, when the angel comes to stir the pool, other people getting the breakthrough, and you so desperately want the breakthrough, but you're not getting it. And he was like saying, that lame man could have gotten despondent and accepted that he was going to be lame for the rest of his life. But at the appointed time, his road intersected with Jesus. And that's because God prescribed that time, that moment to happen at that specific point in time in this man's history, in this man's life. And that's the same thing for you, because if you look at the book of Jeremiah 1 verse 5, he says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. God already appointed the time and the place where our intersection is going to be happening, where our journey is going to meet up with our breakthrough. We need to trust and we need to walk through these storms. Because remember, the disciples had to go through the storms on that particular boat. But Jesus was either with them in the boat, or when he was walking on the water, he lifted Peter out of the water and he put him back into the boat. And he himself got back into the boat in the midst of the storm. Before he calmed the storms, he had to get back into the boat. So God is always getting back into the boat with you. And I want to bring you back to John 3 verse 16, when you are going through these storms, when you are going through these battles, try not to forget that, in the midst of it all, God didn't have to, but He gave His Son up for us to have this life, to have this abundance, to have this breakthroughs that we are experiencing in our lives. And yes, sometimes the challenges do feel like they're getting us down, like they are breaking us apart. I know it's extremely hard, it's extremely difficult. I get emotional when I think about the battles and the struggles that I've had to go through these past 4 years in my life, where it felt like God had deserted me, but God was just preparing me for something bigger and for something better. And He's taking me on a path that I look and I'm like, wow, Lord, I would have never ever pictured this for myself. I would have never come up with this for myself. And I can feel God sitting up in heaven and just smiling and saying, my son, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm still busy working things together for your good. And it makes me excited. In the midst of all these storms coming against me, in the midst of financial battles, in the midst of emotional trials that I have to go through, in the midst of spiritual battles where I'm getting into conflicts with people, God is saying, I have a breakthrough for you. And at the appointed time, I'm going to meet you at that particular intersection. And I want to encourage you, whatever you are going through right now, don't give up. Don't become despondent. God has got a plan in place for you. And He really is working together, all things together for your good. You might not see it now, but it's happening. Okay, I hope you got value from this one. I tried to keep this one a bit shorter because it was more about just encouraging you. I know a lot of people are going through storms right now. I know a lot of people are waiting for breakthroughs to happen in their lives. But the breakthroughs do happen. Just like the man at the pool of Bathsheba, just like the woman with the flow of blood, just like the old lady with the crooked back. God delivers at the right time, at the appointed time. He will come and He will give you the breakthrough that you are so desperate for, whether it be in your finances, whether it be in your family dynamic, whether it be in your workplace, your health, whatever it is. God has got an appointed time. Just go back to Jeremiah 1 verse 5 and realize and understand that He's already appointed the time. He knows what is needed in your life. Okay, if you took value from this particular insight, please do share it with the next person. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I try to give you value through insights like these to encourage you, to uplift you, and to show you that God truly has a purpose and a plan for your life. Okay, so I would also love to hear your comments, your feedback, your thoughts with regards to this particular take. I could have gone so much deeper into this particular word, but I try to keep it as light as possible, because if I go deeper, I'm going to get truly emotional, because what God has done for me, especially in the past 2 weeks, is beyond understanding, beyond comprehension. And it just reminds me that there's this God that is fighting not just for me, but He's fighting for you, for each and every single one of you. No matter the battle, no matter the struggle, He's giving you the breakthrough. Alright, so I hope you took value from this. I enjoy having you on this channel. I enjoy getting your feedback. So please do drop me your comments. Until we meet again, this is Vinnie Max saying, change your thinking, change your world.